How you doing, guys? This is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com and SecretOfTheInternet.com. I had a quick tip, just a little bit of information I wanted to give you guys if you store canned goods for long-term preparedness, disaster preparedness, anything like that. One of the main staples of any apocalypse storeroom preparations is, of course, good old can of Spam. Now, obviously, you may see that Spam's not actually that cheap, despite being depicted as sort of a poor person's food in like media and things like that, cartoons or just popular culture. Spam's not actually that cheap, especially when you consider it's, how much is this? 12 ounces, not even a pound, and it comes in at, like $3 or something around that, depending on where you're getting it. You can buy fresh meats cheaper than that, but there's not a lot of options for meat products or protein sources, actual animal protein sources, not like beans, for long-term storage. The canned meats and stuff like that aren't actually cheaper than fresh meats most of the time. You could get, at the grocery store that I go to, the chicken legs and drumsticks you can get, and thighs you can get for 99 cents a pound sometimes. Usually they're, $1.99 a pound or something like that. So a whole pound of that for less than a can of this. So to save money, I had been buying the cheap-ass luncheon meat version, which, to me tastes the same, and it's significantly cheaper. Not like half price or anything like that, but probably 10 or 20% cheaper. But I noticed that when going through some of my older things that are a few years old, all the original Spam cans are fine, while a significant portion, the first 3 that I grabbed, which was I think all but maybe one of the off-brand luncheon meat stuff, has completely lost its seal and has a little bit of bloat to it, which means this is completely unsafe to eat. Could have botulism in it or something like that, which is a bummer because all that money that I supposedly saved is now out the door because I have to get rid of this entire can. I'm not willing to risk my life to, make sure I get my $1.99 worth on off-brand Spam. So sometimes it might not actually be spoiled, but especially since it's old too. So not only is the seal broken, which could have things like botulism or other bacteria in there, just the fact that it's a broken seal and several years old is going to mean that I'm not going to want to eat that. It's going to be gross or dried out or something either way. So just a tip. It's probably worth it to go ahead and get the brand name stuff. It seems to be packaged a little bit better. If let me know if you guys have other brands. This, I believe, is the Great Value version. You can see that there. And now these cans, keep in mind, this can is like 6 years old or something like that. So this isn't going to happen within a year or two. If you cycle through your stuff within a year, within 2 years, but certainly within a year, then you don't really have to worry about that because you'll use it before that happens. But if you take a little longer to cycle through your stored canned goods like I do, because I don't actually eat canned goods all that much as part of my normal diet, so it takes a few years, more like 5 or 6 to cycle through cans. And normally that's fine. A can of beans may seem weird to normies, but I just ate a 9-year-old can of beans yesterday and you don't notice any difference. As long as the seal on a can hasn't been breached, it's not like rusted or leaking or dented or bloated or anything like that. As long as it looks like fine, it's usually fine. And they've done studies that show that canned goods, if the seal isn't breached, can last basically indefinitely. It lasts decades. It'll, start to lose consistency, color, and taste, and some nutritional value after you're talking about 30 or 40 years. But it's still safe to eat. And certainly within 4 or 5 years, and in my experience, even 10 years, you don't really notice anything. But it has to keep its seal, has to be in good shape, which this obviously isn't because it's puffy, and if you can pop it like that, it does not have its seal still. If you notice this can, no noise, no bulging, no rust, nothing like that. So just a quick tip, it's probably worth it if you're gonna keep your canned goods for more than a year or two. Get the stuff that is packaged solidly. And the type of pull tabs like this anyway are always, like where they have the little pull tab like that, are more prone to breaches than a full-blown can that you have to use a can opener. So if given the option, go for that. But most of the canned meat products tend to have a pull tab on them. And some chilies and things like that do too. Those don't last as long. They seem more prone to being like the seal breached with a jostle because they have to be most of the way scored through or broken through so that it can just pop open like that. Whereas a regular can is stamped on, they're pretty good. So that's the first tip, I guess, would be to avoid the pop open style lid here like this when available. And if you can't, get the name brand stuff that you know is packaged good so you don't end up with botulism or just wasting, you know, food that you've spent money on, which is what happened in this case. Let me know what you guys think, what kind of spoils you've encountered in your long-term storage. And if you store your canned goods for more than a year or two before eating them, let me know that too. I think it freaks a lot of people out. I've had no problems with it at all, with the eating the things that are, you know, non-breached. This is one of the first issues I've actually had with it. So let me know what you guys think. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching.